I'd like to call our meeting to order. It's a Town of Southington Board of Finance meeting. Today is October 11th, 2023. And the first thing we'll do is we'll stand for our Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, we'll have a roll call, please, Mr. Bose.
Mr. Lebenek?
Here.
Mr. Pocock?
Here.
Mr. Bodwin?
Not here.
Mr. Morrison?
Here.
Mrs. Zoni?
Here.
Chair Leary?
Here.
Five
Okay,
present, quorum
we have a
is
quorum.
available.
Okay, we have no public hearing items, so we'll move to the old business, the approval of our minutes from September 13th.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Are there any adjustments on the minutes? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay, our minutes for September 13 are now official. The next item is any of our significant variances. We talk about the financial assessment of the town. So we review any significant variances in revenue or expenditures. And we received a revised item 5. So our revenues are $330,000 more than budget, which is a good thing, right? Revenues over budget. Like we talked about earlier, our two bad guys offset, our bad guy and our good guy offset each other on expenses.
For the most part, yeah.
So we have, a $500,000 shortfall expected in tax revenue because of a glitch, and we have a, $500,000 expense that we don't have to pay for another reason. So those two kind of net, which leaves us $330,000, give or take, to the positive. So not bad, because we had a more liberal budget in a way on revenue. So okay, review of contingency. We're still at $600,000, the full contingency, right? Not the $825 or the $850 we want, but the $600,000 we voted on is still there, so that's a plus. Review of capital projects. We're going to report on those.
Can we correct that date?
Yeah, 9:30.
Well, it'll be for the quarter 9/30. Last month I reported
Right.
quarter ended and fiscal year ended June 30. The next quarter 9/30 will be reporting to you next month.
Maybe
the
that
new-
can
to
just
the
be
new board.
clarified.
The date is correct, yep. That's
It's
the
a
end of the quarter.
9:30 end of
The 9/30
quarter.
quarter at the next meeting. Yeah.
Speaks accountant.
Speak accounting, Q3. And we'll review any other items. There were no special items requested, so I guess the conclusion, you could just give it to us, Jim, on expenses, because I'm doing all the... On expenses, we're in line?
So far, there's nothing that's presenting us with any unexpected challenges. And it's early in the year, so we would hope that there wouldn't be anything right now that's bothersome.
Nothing unexpected. We're normal for 3
Yeah,
months.
July,
in the
August,
fiscal year.
September, we're a quarter in, so we'll take it.
Yeah, sorry, Mark. We did get less conservative with some of these issues, that we saw at the expense items, like prior year taxes and stuff. Yet we're still seeing the overage, which I'm not complaining.
Right.
It's just I'm surprised to see it at that much.
Pretty flat, though, considering we're only talking about 40. You talk about a budget of our size,
Yeah,
it's pretty flat.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay, fair enough. Thanks. I'm glad to see the building permits and fees are still going.
Yeah. Me too.
Right.
Okay, Town Council Subcommittee reports, emphasis on the financial aspects, so the sewer. Mr. Morrison?
Sewer meets tomorrow. So,
Okay, nothing
nothing.
new. Public Works, Mr. Pocock and Mrs. Zoni?
This is more public awareness. Leaf and brush drop-offs are available for the fall, starting now. They start Fridays from 12 to 4, starting November 3rd through December the 8th. They are closed Thanksgiving weekend. The leaf schedule has been posted to the town site. The first quarter is the southeast. It begins on October 30th, which we know is early. However, they do come back at the end. The others are in order. On November 6th, the northeast quadrant, November 13th, the northwest, November 20th, the southwest, and November 27th, back to the southeast. It is posted to the town's highways department website. There's also a very important thing. The household hazardous waste pickup is available for the community on November 18th from 9 to 1 at the Bristol plant, and that's at 95 Vincent Kelly Road. You must have your driver's license, and you can check the highway department website for the information on what you can and cannot bring to that event. Personally, from my experience, I would suggest that you go there early. The lines will be long, but if you go there late, you'll be shut off and you won't have an opportunity to drop anything. So make sure you follow the rules and you're completely ready when you get to the entrances to drop off hazardous waste. We do not want that stuff dumped down our drains, dumped down our toilets, or down our storm drains to get into our sewer treatment facilities or into our wetlands. Thank you. There was nothing else financial.
Thank you. Open space, Mr. Pocock.
We have a few, I have things going on, but they're confidential. I don't want to think we're hiding anything, we're just working on it, and
Yeah.
I've got a couple of things that we're... It's all good, though.
Self-insurance, Mr. Lebenik?
Yeah, sure. Just very quickly, we're 2 months into the fiscal year. We were $400,000 under budget in July, $400,000 over in August, so we're essentially on budget through the first 2 months of the year.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions? Economic strike, Mr. Morrison?
Haven't had a meeting since last Board of Finance.
Okay. The other committees we added, investments, I guess we can just see from our interest income, right, we're 100,000 over.
Yeah, rates.
Kevin's not here.
Rates have gone up, yeah. Kevin has asked us for our availability this time of year, whether it's the rest of this month or in November, because he's going to make a date and come and meet with the treasurer and I to have a more formal report, if you will, an analysis. But that's up to his schedule as well, because, we're here, we're not going anywhere. So we'll obviously be glad to provide him with anything that he likes to see.
Anything with the fire commission liaison?
The only thing is, Mark would back this up, they moved up to January for the ladder truck.
The ladder truck is now in January, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, I had somebody question me about the fire department being at Lake Compounds and who's paying for it. Lake Compounds pays for that.
Yeah, so you're going to see, tonight, you're going to see an appropriation to the line item. Not only, I think it's Lake Compounds and another company that pays the fire department.
fire.
You'll see it in your line item.
Right, but I mean, I only had it for Lake Compounds. Somebody brought it up, and I said to him, I'm sure we're getting reimbursed, but we'll
Absolutely
find
correct.
out that we're
You do
having
get
a meeting
reimbursed.
tonight.
Do we charge each other for mutual aid? I see on almost every call now, it
No.
says, no matter what it is, mutual aid's been enacted, mutual aid's been enacted.
We do not charge each other for that.
Okay.
We do what every town is, well, our border towns, we do not charge for that.
I just see it a lot, and when I read either those press releases or the paper,
Yep.
I don't, I'm just noticing it, or if it's always been the way. When we have a fire, we enact mutual aid. I just don't know.
It depends on the type of fire, obviously, but we've been in a lot of our bordering towns over the last several months. Happy to do it as long as
It
we're
works
able to
both
do it.
ways.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So nothing else fire-related?
Not that I have. I mean, they've been very busy, but that's hard with them, so.
Any other boards anybody went to or anybody wants to bring up?
I was at Public Works, the police department was mentioned. They are doing a lot of traffic enforcement right now, and the primary reasons for that are motor vehicle violations. We have too many speeders, too many people going through stop signs and red lights.
School buses.
And we're trying to make things safe for our students, particularly as they're going to and from school. So be aware that they're out there and accept whatever happens to you gracefully, as my husband did.
I'm sure he's happy that he told everybody about that.
He got a warning.
Okay.
Our police department is wonderful. They're doing a great job.
Okay, public communications. Anybody from the public like to speak? Board communications, member to member?
Yeah, I'd like to say something. Just based on the fact that this is my last meeting, it's been an honour to be on this board for the last 6 years, and I think I take it with great pride that what we've done, this board has done, and giving examples. Every year seems to have been fiscal challenges, some more so than others. The first year I was on it, we were faced with a $5 million cut from the state of Connecticut, where we had to impose that on our services, both the town and education, and I think we did it fairly. And then we got the money back a year later. But, this year, obviously, was an incredibly challenging budget. We got hit by inflation and a number of other factors that drove our spending up far beyond what we ever thought it would be. And we stepped up to that too. And I think most people in town appreciate our efforts. We've kept taxes low, we've kept services funded, and we've also done, I did a little calculation, we've done nearly $100 million worth of spending on infrastructure in the 6 years that I've been on this committee. So, excellent record, I think, and anybody I speak to about the Board of Finance always says, well, you guys are doing a great job. And I think that's correct. It's well earned. Like I said, it was an honour for me to be on this board, and didn't enjoy every minute of it, but it was fun.
Consider a little baby.
You just inherited that from Amelia.
My predecessor spoiled you rotten, Ed. I'm not her.
I don't mind being spoiled. It's all good.
You learn all about pizza.
Yeah.
Pizza's the key.
Okay, that's my short spiel.
The only difference between us is she was nice.
We'll soften you up.
Eventually, we will.
The next board that's here, the first orders they're going to have is soften up Mr. Bose. Okay, Ms. Zoni.
Yeah, this is my last night voluntarily. I'm leaving this board. I am done with the open political life out in front of everyone. I'm very busy with my other life, my private life, my personal and family life, and I am the consummate literacy volunteer. I teach English to new immigrant families in this community, and I've been doing that for 20 years. I've worked at the high school for 5, and I've worked with adults for a total of 20. I'd like to thank the town manager, Attorney Mark Shota, for helping me when there were things I didn't understand or didn't know about, giving me guidance at other times. And I'd really like to thank Mr. Pocock. He's in the opposition party, but he has been extraordinarily helpful. His wisdom, his knowledge, his understanding of the town and the community comes from a different point of view of mine, although we've both lived here our whole lives. And I appreciate his willingness to talk to me, to mentor me, to help me, and to listen. And he listens back. And I appreciate that more than anyone could know. I also appreciate those people who've been here on the sidelines that never get noticed. First, it was Amelia Portolina, who helped me when I first came on, and I didn't know all the little acronyms. So rather than make a big deal in front of a meeting, what's that, I went to her, and she talked to me and explained everything. She was wonderful. And now we have Jim Bose. Now I know him, so I don't need to bother Jim. But there was a couple of times that I needed his help with a few things, and he did, quickly, promptly. And then each week, we are videotaped. Sandy Bernoli's here. She videotapes us every week, silently, quietly, never says a word, just sits there and takes it all in and listens to some of the BS. I thank Linda Giannoni, who was here before our current secretary. Linda was a great, great secretary. She took wonderful notes. She just did a great job all the time. And now we have Angela Fiorello, who just can't be here tonight, but she's doing a great job as well. So all these people are support services. And a lot of times we don't think of our support services. So I also served on the Public Works Committee most of the time. I was politically removed at one point because someone didn't like to have anybody go counter to his point of view. And then I complained about it. First, I was the only person on this entire board to have no committee to serve on. Others had 2, 3, or 4, and I had none. And I'm female, and everyone else was male. And I clearly was being gender discriminated. So then my committee came back after I made a lot of noise about that. So then I was served on the Public Works Committee, which I really loved. I learned so much about the infrastructure of this town, how it works, who does it, who makes it happen. And there are a lot of people, too many to even begin to name. But the services that you don't think about are the ones that you really need to start being thankful for. We all think about the roads because we're hitting the potholes and we're saying, why aren't they fixing this road? I've got my certain ones I complain about as well. But we have more than the roads in our Public Works Department. We have the sidewalks, the bridges, the little ridges on the side of the road that help keep the water off the road. We have the storm drains. We have the runoff drains, culverts that run into brooks or rivers or into the storm system. We have the plowing, the leaves, the bulky waste, the water department, the sewer department, so many things and more. And we have employees in those departments who help at so many of our town public events, Music on the Green, the different festivals and things. These people are there helping to set up, clean up, put up, and do whatever kinds of things need doing. Those people deserve our thanks. So if you see them around cutting the branches on a tree, emptying a garbage pail, give them a little thank you, because that's your tax dollars doing the work that needs to be done to keep Southington the community that we love. Think also not just of the teachers when we're talking education budget. Think of the tutors. I was a tutor. Now I have a master's in education. I started at base crap pay, $10 and something an hour, because I believed in the job and I wanted it done well. I didn't need the money, but I wanted the job. I wanted to do the best for the students. And we have tutors everywhere, not just ESL tutors. We have reading tutors and math tutors, homeschooling tutors, tutors for kids who for some reason or another are having great difficulties personally with their life, with the law. They have tutors. Those people need to be recognized. The staff that prepares the meals, that cleans up in the cafeterias, that picks up the trash in the lawns. If you see them, thank them. They're your employees. The person who sweeps the hall in this building, thank you. Every one of us, every one of them needs to be appreciated because they're doing sometimes very menial jobs. It might be menial to you, but to them, it's a job they need, they want, and they're doing the best they can do. So thank you to the people of this community, to the people who service the community, and to the person who said to me in one of these meetings that this is not public service, baloney. This is public service. Everyone who serves on a board, a commission, a council, or anything else who is elected does not get paid in this community. It is public service from beginning to end. Thank you.
Chairman, I'll be very brief. Obviously, as Mr. Pocock mentioned, he's up for re-election, yourself and me, so we'll see if we're back. But as Mr. Morrison and Ms. Oni said, they will not be back. This is their last meeting. So just to recognize all of their efforts, thank them. It's really been a pleasure to work with both of you. There's been differences of opinion at times, which I think is healthy and has hopefully led to a better process and better decisions. But no one can question either of your commitment to this board, commitment to the town, and also everything you do for the town. Sue, as you were mentioning some of those things outside of just serving on this board. So thank you both. It's really been a pleasure to serve with both of you.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it, Jeff.
I just echo the same thing without taking a lot of time. The service is wonderful. The community service that's given, the volunteerism, and a little hard part, the campaigns. It's just the process that's used to get people onto these boards gets a little ugly at times. it's like a road bump we all have to get through and get over to get here. It's kind of interesting because so many other agencies would just love to choose somebody to be on their board, whether it's a school or a charity, but here there's that road bump of getting through an election. But just same thing, Mrs. Oni said it all as far as everybody on the staff, and just want to wish Mrs. Oni and Mr. Morrison a great future and thank them for their service. The rest of us, of course, we hope to see each other back and welcome the new members who get elected to the board. And leave it there and thank the staff. And it's a good board. We like to encourage more people who want to serve on it to step forward from whatever party you are. If you have a financial background, financial inclination, or have a strong desire to look after the financials of the town, please consider volunteer service. Okay, any more board communications? Any other topics? Okay, let's go on to the, we'll get into the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion, oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Let me just remind everybody, the consent agenda is simply to take items where the town has received money and to just appropriate that back to the line item so the money could be spent. These are cases where we already have the money. So that's why they call it consent. It's pretty straightforward.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Can we read those so that
Yes,
they're
I
in the-
was going to read them next.
Thank you.
Okay. So it's an appropriation of $1,031 of special revenue fund for the Barnes Museum Summer Program. An appropriation for $500 to Special Revenue Fund 209 for canine supplies. $500 for Special Revenue Fund Police Department donations for the bicycle. 500 Police Department Special Revenue donations to the Auto Theft Unit. $440 Special Revenue Fund Youth Services for program supplies. $12,516 the General Fund number 100 for fire extra duty. We'll catch that later. $5,000 Special Revenue Fund 209 for youth services for an STR grant expense. $2,500 for youth services for CREC grant for gambling prevention. $2,500. And then $198 to a special revenue fund for building department for a loss and insurance reimbursement. Now that we've read them all, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? It carries 5-0. Consent agenda is approved. We have 4 administrative business items. They come to us through memos, and we take, we have these in advance, we read them, we look them over, then we come here and vote on them. And just for everybody, our new potential candidates who are in the audience with us, just a reminder, on the town side, the general government side, we, the board, have to appropriate the money to the line items in order for it to be spent. Board of Ed, we give them the full amount, and they have their own finance committee, moving things around and deciding what gets spent where. So for the administrative business, the town manager memos, there are 5. The first one's an appropriation of $130,327 to the Special Revenue Fund for the Fire FEMA grant. We have a motion.
So moved.
Motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair, may I have a roll call
Yeah.
on that? Thank you.
Okay, we'll do a roll call vote on that.
Mr. Lebenik,
Yes.
Mr. Pocock,
Yes.
Mr. Morrison,
Yes.
Mrs. Zoni,
Yes.
Chair Larry,
Yes.
5-0.
Okay, and those are because they're grant related. We have to have,
Certain federal grants,
Yeah,
they like
very
to see
surety.
that in the, they like to see a roll call vote in the minutes to the motions, yeah.
I am baby.
I would love to know the story behind that, but let's move on.
all right,
Okay.
next order of business.
Get ready.
Appropriation
You see what I mean?
$500, general fund, calendar house overtime.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. Number 2 carries 5-0.
Well, hold on,
Wait, wait.
I think you abstained, do you not, Ed?
Who abstained?
Mr. Pocock.
That's why that's on, that's why that's on the
Oh,
regular.
that's why it's there, 4-0.
That's why it's on there.
4-0-1, one abstention.
Again, he's babied.
I'm going too fast.
So that's 4-0, 4-0-1, how's that?
Correct.
4-0-1.
Yep.
Phone delivery.
Appropriation, $519,500 for ARPA Special Revenue Grant for Panthorn Park improvements. We'll do a roll call on that as well.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? That's from our list. Let's go through a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Lebenik,
Yes.
Mr. Morrison,
Yes.
Mr. Pocock,
Yes.
Mrs. Zoni,
Yes.
Chair Larry.
Yes. Carries
5-0.
5-0. Okay, number 4 is just a department transfer, $96,410 from the Capital Project Fund to Townwide IT, Information Technologies.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, motion carries 5-0. The fifth and final one here is an appropriation for $103,708 Board of Ed non-lapsing. I'd like to,
So moved.
okay, a motion is second, discussion. Jen, do you want to talk about that a little bit? I know you came all the way here, I hate to, maybe just
Sure, I just
explain
wanna
what it
thank
is,
you.
what it might, in general, what it would consist of and what we're doing.
Sure, this balance of 103,708 represents the unexpended balance from our operating budget from the 22-23 year. The request is to allow us to carry those funds into the traditional non-lapsing account. At this point, there's a $17,342 liability that we're waiting for. It's an unemployment claim that, because the state went to a quarterly system, they haven't yet drawn down, but we were notified of the claim in March. So we plan to use those funds to take care of that when the claim actually is paid through the state system. And then from there, we have the 86,000 and change that's unallocated towards anything. Our administration will take a look at that. We're about to start our budget meetings for the new fiscal year. So if suggestions are made, we'll bring it to our finance committee and then we'll circle it back through this
Okay.
committee here.
And I think the last time this board was all in favor, if you wanted to, we originally, maybe we just put it out here for some history. When we began, before the state law changed that we can withhold 2%, you could run a 2% surplus. Prior to that, there was a use it or lose it kind of process going on. If you returned a surplus, it was gone and you wouldn't get it back. So then you would have ways to spend it, make sure you spent it down to the penny, because you can't run a deficit either, right? So now we have a law that says you can carry up to 2% forward in the future year. When we first wrestled with this, didn't we all say here that because that money gets returned into our general fund, we would only take it out for capital projects? I think we had that conversation. Then we thought about it for a while and said, you know what, we gave it originally for operations. The money was part of your operating budget last year of $104 million. It was part of the 104. We gave it for operations. You're giving it back so we could temporarily put it away and wait to give it back to you. It's all we don't use it for anything else. You give it to us and then we give it back. But I think we've now said we will give it back for operations. You can use it for capital, use it for whatever you want. But we will give it back to the Board of Ed and let the Board of Ed Finance Committee then decide what to do with it.
Excuse me, Mr. Leary,
Yeah.
a couple of us did not vote to do it that way.
None of us voted.
Right, okay, well, some of us were not.
Well, you would have- then you
we
would have
were not
wanted
in
to-
agreement with that.
It was either to use it for capital or to
Right.
use it for
But
operations.
some of us were not in agreement with the,
Okay, we never voted, but
right.
we did say we gave it originally for operations, so we give it back to you and you use it however the Board of Ed Finance Committee decides to use it. I think that's where we collectively left it. Because of its original intent. Like, it wasn't given for capital in the beginning, so why now, when it comes back as a surplus, should it only be restricted for capital? That was the conversation that we had. So just to let you know. So what you're doing here is you're giving us 103,708, and then later you'll come back at some point, ask for the 103,708 back with some specifics on where it's going to go. And that's,
There's already one specific already on the
Yeah,
table.
with the-
17
yeah,
and then in the next
Workers'
several
comp.
months, they'll come back with it.
with the 80-something.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's just a little story around it for our audience. But who's ever here next could work on that.
Yeah, we really weren't expecting too much. This year is the rollover. Obviously, we had a chat about that during the budget, right? But I'm glad to see some is here. It's really, even though it's only 100 grand.
I think the unallocated portion is 0.08% of our
it's still 100
budget
grand.
where we started. So
it's
yeah.
it's still a good job.
Yes,
That's
and
all
we
I'm trying to say.
appreciate, obviously, we've taken the opportunity with these unexpended funds to accomplish a lot of one-time
Right.
projects around all the schools, so it's much appreciated from the Board of Ed.
And I assume this is what you'll be asking this board for this next board in the next year. So, great, thank you very much. I really appreciate
Thank
the
you.
effort.
And thanks
Thank
for
you.
being here.
You're welcome. Thank
Figured I'd have you explain it since you came all the way, but thank you for being here. Always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have this appropriation. Do we have a motion? Did we make a motion in second?
I believe there's
think
a
we
motion
did.
and a second on the floor already.
So now any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries 5-0. The $222, that's just information. Town manager moved within his purview $222 to temporary seasonal wage line in the town manager's department.
I had a crazy month.
Okay, we are now going to go into executive session for legal matters
To include
to
the
include
board
the Board of Finance, the Finance Director, the Town Manager,
and the Corporation Council.
and the Corporation Council.
You need a motion and a second and a vote to do that.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second to go into executive session at 7:33 with the Board of Finance, the Finance Director, Town Manager, and Corporation Council. We thank everybody for being here,
Yeah.
and just so everybody knows, when we go in for certain matters, we just can't discuss in public, so FOIA gives us the right to announce what they're for, and then we go in.
And you have to leave. Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Thank you. And we won't be resuming, so after
Yeah,
this,
just
we
to
adjourn.
Just come out to adjourn, yeah?
Thank you.